What's up everyone and welcome to another Armored Warfare video. The topic of today's video, the main battle tank from the United States of America, the famous M1A1 Abrams, but this is the one from the Battle Path event, the M1A1 Storm. The M1A1 is really one of the most famous vehicles out there. It was the main vehicle of the US Armored Forces during the Gulf War. The Abrams was the product of US tank development that started the end of the Second World War. The desire not to be outdone and left behind in terms of tank power was a real big driving force. It led to a whole stream of projects, including the rather costly and complete and utter failure that was the MBT-70 program, and then eventually Chrysler's XM1, which was selected to be the basis of the future US main battle tank. The M1A1 Abrams was an upgrade on the standard M1, which upgraded the gun from a 105mm to the 120mm smoothbore, and that allowed it to fire such rounds as the depleted uranium. This version from the Battle Path though, the Storm, isn't actually based on a real vehicle. It's inspired by the vehicles from Desert Storm, however it's a customized mercenary vehicle. Couple of differences between this and the standard progression M1A1, which is the plow on the front, that adds a little bit extra spaced armor over the area it covers, as you'll show a little bit later. Plus, it gives an additional 100% ramming damage. Plus, that camo net over the whole vehicle actually gives it extra camo value, which makes an easily spotted vehicle slightly less easy to spot. So let's take a look at the vehicle, and let's start with the upgrade over the standard Abrams, that 120mm smoothbore gun. Well, the 650mm of pen that the AP has, it's actually one of the punchier guns in its tier, which means that with a decent reload time and alright damage, the damage output from the Storm is actually pretty decent. Got minus 10 degrees of gun depression too, which is definitely not bad. Although, I do often find that with the rather weak lower front plate, and we'll look at that in a minute, I definitely really wish that we had a bit more gun depression, and that would allow it to perform better as sort of a ridge peaker. But it is what it is. It's also got the best aim time and best accuracy of any progression gun in its tier as well, so the gun handles extremely well, and really allows you to pull off snapshots really rather easily. Mobility wise, it's a decently maneuverable vehicle. It's rather middle of the road though when it comes to comparing to other vehicles in its tier. Top speed of 66, 0 to 32 in 6.5 seconds. It's rather average, to be honest. The heavier vehicles like the Merkava and the Challenger obviously don't keep up with the Storm or the standard Abrams. However, the lighter armoured MBTs like the Leo 2, the T80, the 9910, they're faster and more manoeuvrable. Although to be fair to the Storm, it's not too far away, but it definitely sits rather in the middle of the pack in terms of that manoeuvrability. So let's move on to the armour profile of the M1 Abrams Storm. It's no different to that of the standard M1 Abrams. It's basic, well, I mean, it is exactly the same vehicle, but we do have this bulldozer plate on the front, and that actually does act as a little bit of spaced armor. If we head into the armor calculator, against another M1 Storm, this entire lower front plate would be completely pennable. You're going to hit the driver if you hit center. I don't think you hit anything else by doing this. I think it's just the driver. But as you can see, where the blade is actually like overlapping on the front plate, it is actually acting as a little bit of spaced armor, which is definitely helping a little bit with the survivability on the front here. But with a lower front plate, that would normally mean you go hull down. Well, you've probably spotted the reason. Well, a big problem with this vehicle. This. Hit the gunner here, you're going to hit the breech here. This is a giant weak spot. And the problem is, you naturally are going to want to turn that to try and, or turn your turret to try and hide that. But even if you do, what you end up doing is you don't hide this very well because it's very difficult to. And you're actually opening up your turret cheek because you're basically flattening out that side. Like from this angle, it's very heavily angled and you're never going to get through. If you try and turn this to try and cover that, yeah, you start flattening out your turret cheek, and the Storm is going to go through 50% of the time. You start looking at some of the types and whatever. not these type. Oh, that's a tier 6 type. Start looking at like types and everything there. Look, there you go. 48% of the time, 49% of the time. And then if you like go up a tier, let's go into tier 8. Like, you're gonna start getting penned by a lot of things. I mean, that's a dragon, which doesn't have the best gun. Leo's 82% of the time are just gonna go straight through. I mean, even frontally at tier 8, if you're not top tier, you can see, look, there's still a 50% chance almost that a Leo is just gonna, like, just lol pen you straight through the turret. It's really not good. Even the lower front plate with this, like, bulldozer blade covering it, at this stage, actually starts to not be much protection at all. So honestly, this is not the most heavily armored tank ever. It's, this weak spot here is a huge downside. It means you can't, you've got massive problems, because if you try and cover your lower front plate by going behind cover and using the, like, going hull down, you expose this massive weak spot all of the time. I mean, that's exposed all the time anyway, but if you think you're gonna go behind some really, really nice, like, cover and be hull down, and nope, this says otherwise. This says no. And then, like I say, at tier 8 as well, if you're not top tier, you start just getting lol pens straight through the thing. There you go, type 98, 6B, like either of those. Things that's just starting to, like, lol pen you straight through the turret, which is not a fun experience, to be perfectly honest with you. So, it's not horrendously armored, but it's not particularly good either, because it doesn't really matter what you do. This weak spot here is a gigantic problem. So we've taken a look at the stats of the vehicle, but they only really sort of tell us so much, to be honest with you. So we're here on Cold Strike, standard battle. Let's put this vehicle through its paces. In terms of what it actually does and how it actually fights, I'd say this is more of a ridge fighter than anything else, because it doesn't really have the lower front plate to be able to do anything, like, other than ridge fight. But then even then, like, as a ridge fighter, it's not particularly good either, to be honest, I'm gonna say. It's... The problem is that it's got very weak turret armor. So, like, in general, it's not weak. But the thing is, it's got the massive weak spot right underneath the gun. And if you try and hide the weak spot by, like, try and hide the weak spot that's underneath the gun, you end up, oh boy. Oh. I didn't lose any damage there, which is thankful, but it was one of those ones I was talking, so I completely lost track of what I was doing. But yeah, so the problem is, it's not got the turret armor really to do anything, I would say. Because you get to this sort of tier, or like, and Sabras and Leos and whatever, they just put shots straight through the, like, flattened turret armor. Because the thing is, you're trying to hide that really weak, like, really weak spot underneath the turret by like, turning the turret, but then you just flatten your turret armor out, which is not a good plan, obviously. You don't want to be flattening turret armor out, especially when, like, this tier, you end up with a bunch of vehicles that will just go straight through it. So yeah, it's a hard one for me to, like, say is really good. But even, like, that being said, I've actually had a whole bunch of games where, honestly, I've done alright in this. It's not a bad vehicle. Like, it's really not a bad vehicle. Like, the gun is, without being outstanding, the gun is solid. Whoops. As I missed the lower plate of that T-80. Hopefully I can bait out the shot, or the Merkava will bait out the shot from the T-80. There we go. Oh, the Merkava actually got it. So we're going to collapse in round on the back of the Revo and that now. Oh, I tried to go for the rear of the turret of the Revo and completely missed the shot, which was very unfortunate. I retracked him though, so... which was very unfortunate. I'm going to push around on the ram cut. I'm going to go for some ram damage here. Let's put the ramming to the test, shall we? Hello, friend. Oh, hi. You're coming with me, mate. Oh, this poor Terminator. Oh, this poor Terminator. Oh, we bullied him. So yeah, as you can see, there's the ramming damage and the scooping action there. But we're not doing too well in terms of, like, winning the battle overall, so... put a really nice, cheeky little shot into the NM there. We've got a decent amount of MBT support here. I'm actually going to cover that, the Merkava Mark III there. Because I think they're actually, yeah, they're trying to push through the middle. So we actually have the opportunity to envelop them here. But the problem is they've, like, pushing down that road, they've got support from the Sabra and everybody, like, way over the, way over at the back there, so... we could put a nice shot into there. Oh, hey, talking of the Sabra. Merkava's to the side there. I'm not really going to be able to get away from this. I can't get out of here. I'm just gonna try and back away as quickly as I can. And hope that one of my guys pushes up. I'm gonna die now. Yeah, oh sweet, I'm hiding behind my friendly Merkava. That was nice of the Merkava to flatten himself out there for everybody. I'm still trying to keep my gun in the fight, despite being on low health, so... that RCR is in a very dangerous spot. I'm not entirely sure what I shot there, to be honest. I'm hoping something spots that, or respots that RCR. There he is. I'm gonna die now. Yep, there we go. There's the end. But as you can see, like, this isn't really designed for brawling. I really should have been going for the ridge fight there. But overall, like, 6,500 damage is not anything to shy at, and we could still win this. We've got a Terminator alive. The Type 90 is a bit of an adversary over there. There, he's dead, nice. VT4 got him, so yeah, now it's 3v3. Their Merkava is on full health, but their NM is a one-shot. Oh, they've got an M1 Abrams who may have just woken up. I'm not entirely sure. He may have been a... oh no, he's on two kills, so... this is unfortunate here. No, don't ram the Abrams. What are you doing? I don't even know anymore. What is going on here? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? I don't even know. I am so confused. What is going on right now? Hey, he's finally got the missiles down onto the engine deck. Oh boy, that was a sight. That really was. And it looks like we're actually going to be able to, yeah, we won the game. So I'm happy with 6,500 damage there. I could have played a little bit better, but I sort of showed you, I guess, a little bit of the weak spots of the M1A1, and you can see the gun is actually fairly solid. Like, I don't mind the gun. I wish it had a little bit more penetration, a little bit more gun depression, so we could play around with doing rich games a little bit more, but, you know, you can't have everything. I still think the M1 Abrams is a little bit... it's a bit average. I think it's lacking character. It's lacking personality. It's a bit... it tries to do the whole jack of all trades thing, but then doesn't really make the most of it doesn't really pull it off. It kind of just means it ends up not being in its own niche, so people don't play it in a certain way. Type 90 is a brilliant, like, it's brilliant at Ridge games. Challenger, face hugging, like, straight up in the middle of the fight. They have their very own sort of themes, but I think because of the armor profile of the M1A1, it just can't do that effectively. That weak spot, like I say, under the gun, and then flattening the turrets to try and hide that weak spot, you end up just causing more problems than it solves. Especially at a higher tier when you're up against tier 8s. So it is one of those ones you've got to sort of pay attention to. Do I think it's a bad tank? No. Do I think it's an outstanding tank? No. It's an average tank. You're going to do really well. Like, if you're a decent player, you'll do well in it, I think. I think it's got a decent enough gun where you can actually do well with it. But you do need to play it very, very conservatively. You don't brawl with it. Don't do what I just did. Don't brawl with it. But still, that's the M1A1 Storm. It's a very, very good looking tank. I absolutely love the way this looks. And I think that honestly, if you get to the stage of unlocking it, I think you'll enjoy it. I have a feeling the M1 Abrams line will probably get a buff somewhere in the future. So you never know, this thing might even get stronger. We'll see. But for now, many, many thanks for watching, and I shall catch you in the next video. So since I made this video and was ready to put it out, we actually got some new and interesting glimpses into the next progression line of vehicles, and that is the French. The community managers have kindly given us content creators some images of these upcoming vehicles, and I'll leave them up on screen for you to see. Those are the AMX-30B, the AMX-40, and the AMX-50. I'm not sure what tiers these are actually going to be, but honestly, I have a feeling the French tanks are going to play a lot like Leopards. Fast and manoeuvrable, decent punchy guns. I mean, I might be way off the mark with these, and we actually have no real information on these yet as their sort of special nation characteristics, I guess. But it's going to be interesting to see whether they come with, like, the autoloader systems that stuff like the AMX-50 is sort of famous for, especially since it looks like, from the model, to be the 100mm gun, which are all familiar from World of Tanks as the AMX-50-100, which is one of my favourite vehicles from my time playing it. I'm really looking forward to the in-development post for these so we can learn some more of the history. I'll be honest, French tanks, not my forte at all, so I'm excited for that. And I hope you enjoy the really quick sort of, like, insight into these vehicles and, you know, the images that we've been kindly, given to show you. To end off my video, though, for those of you who have made it this far, if you check the description of the video, you can find 5 codes for my very exclusive in-game decal, so you can run with that on your vehicles if you wish. It's first come, first serve, though, and they may be gone very quickly, so grab them while it's hot. Anyways, that's actually the end of the video this time. Thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.